Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello and welcome to everyone. I am Walid Ibrahim Al-Alewa and I will introduce full class 2 for the first intermediate grade, second semester, and our lesson today about revision for Unit 4. Okay, now let's start our lesson about Module 4 and the topic of the whole module, see the world. And in this unit, we will revise means of transport, camping equipment, adventure sports, holiday activities, future going to, the verb must, comparative forms, superlative forms, to make comparison, and to express obligation and prohibition. And this is from page 50 to 61. Okay, the first lesson in Module 4, 4a, on the move, page 50. We will take vocabulary, and this is about means of transport. What is means of transport? For example, car, train, bus, ship, plane. These are means of transport. This is a bus. You are going to school trip by bus. So we will use by. The preposition by, we will use it with bus, by bus. Ship. You are going to a cruise by ship. We will also use preposition by with ship. Train. He's going to travel to Dammam by train. Also, we will use by with train. Okay, these boys are going to somewhere or walking to somewhere. So we are going to the stadium on foot. So we will use on, the preposition on, with foot, on foot. Don't say by foot. And I'm going to the park by car. We will use also by with car. This plane, and we will say they are going to Italy by plane. Now we will use the preposition by with plane. And in page 51, we will take grammar, and this is about future going to. When we use this tense, future, in the future, we will use it in the future. We use the future going to for something we intend to do it in the future, or to express future plans. Dennis is going to buy a car next week. So we have here subject and is, verb to be, is, am, are. And as you know, is with singular or he, she, it, and are with you, they, we, or plural, and am with I. We have going to and buy car, or buy the verb, base form of verb, and time expression next week. Dennis is going to buy a car next week. This is future going to. We will use time expressions with future going to. We will use tomorrow, tonight, next month, next year, next week, next Tuesday, in an hour, in a year, soon, etc. So time expressions use it in the future. These time expressions use it in the future. In the past, we will use yesterday and last week, last month. So in future, we will use these expressions. Now the structure of the sentence. Subject, verb to be, going to, base form of verb. I am going to play. I'm not going to play. I am going to play. This is affirmative. I am not going to play. This is a negative. He is going to sleep. He is not going to sleep. This is a negative. We are going to eat. We are not going to eat. Now, with I, we use am, and he, she, it, we use is. we, you, they, we use are, and after that we will add going to and the base form of verb. And when we want to make a negative sentence, we will add not after verb to be. Okay, now how can I make a question in future going to? Basically, we will start with verb to be. We will start with verb to be. Am I going to play? And don't forget question mark. I am going to play. This is affirmative. I am not going to play. This is a negative. Am I going to play? This is question. And note, it is not necessary to say all right to go with the future going to. When we have a sentence and the verb is go, إذا كان الفعل في الجملة go, don't say I am going to go. For example, Ted is going swimming next weekend. So it's not necessary to say Ted is going to go, but no problem when you say. Here we have an exercise about future going to. Complete the sentences, use the future going to of the verbs in brackets. Number 1, Mary visit her grandparents at the weekend. So now we will change it to verb or future going to. We will say Mary is, because singular Mary. Mary is going to visit. Number 2, we space have dinner at an Italian restaurant tomorrow. We will say we are going to have. We are going to have. 3, Ibrahim and I. This is a plural. So we will say Ibrahim and I are. Ibrahim and I are going to go. So it's not necessary when I say Ibrahim and I are going to go. So say, all right, Ibrahim and I are going, because we have the verb go, are going to the bowling alley on Thursday. Number 5, you space make a cake for dessert. So I will say, you are going to make cake for dessert. Now, the last sentence, number 5, they space not travel by plane. This is a negative, so we will say they are not going to travel by plane. The second lesson, 4b, going camping, page 51. Vocabulary. We will talk about camping equipment. When you go camping, you need some equipment to use it. For example, in the dark, use torch, map. This is tent, fire, backpack, okay? Sleeping bag, first aid kit. When you get injured, you have to use first aid kit. إسعافات أولية. And let's move to page 52. We have a grammar, and this is about must and mustn't. This is modal verbs. Must and mustn't, and must, we use it. Must expresses obligation. So use must when you want to obligate something. For example, I must do my homework. Obligation, this is obligation. I must do my homework. إلزام. Use must. Mustn't expresses prohibition. For example, you mustn't touch the paintings. Here we use it for prohibition, المنع. And the structure of the sentence, and with must and mustn't, subject I, he, she, it, you, they, we, and must or mustn't, and the base form of verb. Why? Because must and mustn't is modal verb, and we use after modal verb pair infinitive الفعل في المصدر لكن بدون to. You must eat. This is affirmative and use it for obligation. You mustn't eat. This is a negative and use it for prohibition. And the question start with modal verb must. Must you eat? This is a question. And the answer is yes, I must, or no, I mustn't. Let's do the exercise now. Look at the science and write what you must or mustn't do. Look at this. Now, this is prohibition, and we will use the verb make and noun fire. You mustn't make fire. This is obligation. Prohibition, sorry. This is prohibition, منع. Stop. You must stop. Swim in the river. So this is obligation. Don't swim. We will say, you mustn't swim in the river. The third lesson, 4C, a new experience, page 54. Vocabulary, we will talk about adventure sports or dangerous, sailing, scuba diving, windsurfing, skiing on the snow, rock climbing, surfing, and water skiing. Okay, now we will talk about grammar, and this is about comparative. What is comparative? Comparative when you compare between two things or animals or ideas. So we will use comparative forms. We use the comparative form of the adjectives. Adjectives, tall, small, big, etc. When we compare two people, animals, or things. So the adjective small in comparative becomes smaller. Nice, nicer. Big, bigger. Now these are short adjectives. Short adjectives. Short adjectives, it has one syllable. Small, nice, big. So in small adjectives, in comparative, we will just add er. So here we add er, and here we add just r. Why? Because this adjectives or this adjective ending with e تنتهي ب e فما يحتاج اضيف er مرة ثانية اضيف r فقط. Here this adjective ending with consonant, and before the consonant we have vowel. So we have vowel and consonant. So what we will do, we will double the consonant and add er. Okay? And here we have funny when the adjective has y, drop y and add ier. Colorful becomes more colorful. Why we don't say colorfulier? Why we don't add er? Because this is long adjective. Long adjective, صفة طويلة. So we will, it has two syllables or more. More adjective. More colorful. More colorful. Okay? So don't add er to the long adjective. الصفة الطويلة ما نضيف لها er. نضيف قبلها ايش؟ more في المقارنة. Dangerous also long adjective. Dangerous becomes تصبح more dangerous. Now how can I use it in the sentence? كيف الآن أستخدمها في الجملة؟ كيف أقارن الآن بين شيئين؟ Look at this picture. This is Tom and Tom is short. Now this is an affirmative sentence. جملة عادية. Tom is short. Now I describe Tom. أنا الآن أوصف Tom. أقول Tom is short. Max is tall. Now this is subject, this is the verb, and this is adjective. Now I want to make comparative. I want to compare between them. بقارن بينهم. شو أقول؟ Tom is shorter than Max. Now I take the adjective and add er with it and add than, er plus than, and add the next or the second thing, الشيء الآخر اللي تقارن فيه. Tom is shorter than Max. طب الآن بقول أن Max أطول من Tom. Max is taller. Max is taller than Tom. Max is taller than Tom. Okay? When I want to compare between also two things and I use a long adjective, for example, I say wrestling اللي هي رياضة المصارعة is more dangerous. لاحظ, is more dangerous than football, for example. And this what we call it comparative. Now let's talk about superlative. What is superlative? It's also when you compare between one thing or one person or animal with several of the same kind. شيء واحد بالمجموعة the several of the same kind. For example, when I want to compare between, for example, Tom and the students in the class. يعني بقارن بين توم والطلاب في الفصل أو بقارن بين توم وشخصين مو بشخص واحد. This what we call it superlative. So the adjective in superlative, also in short adjective, we don't add er because this is not comparative. We add what? Smallest. We add est. Nice, nicest. We add est also, but here we add st because this ending with e. Big, biggest. Funny, funniest. Okay, what about the long adjective? ماذا عن الصفات الطويلة؟ أيضا ما أقدر أضيف لها est. شو أسوي؟ For example, colorful, the most colorful. We add the most. Okay, and keep the adjective خل الصفة كما هي. Dangerous, the most dangerous. The most dangerous. Okay, now I will compare between Tom, Max, Ian. Okay, and I will use superlative. So here Tom is short, Max is tall, Ian is also short. Now who is now when I say the tallest, من الأطول? Max. So I will say Max is the tallest boy. Max is the tallest boy. I add est with the adjective, the short adjective, add est. And before that, add the tallest boy, the tallest boy. And the long adjective, add the most, okay? And that's what we call it superlative. Okay, we have the last point about irregular, comparative, and superlative form. We have irregular. So sometimes we don't add er to when I compare to the adjective, and sometimes we don't add est in the adjective. So what I will do, شو أسوي? I change it. Why? Because this is irregular comparative. For example, good. When I say Ahmed is good, Ahmed ممتاز مثلا, and Hassan is not good, for example, I will compare between them. I will say Ahmed is better than Hassan. Okay? And when I want to make a superlative, I say Ahmed is the best student in the class. Okay? Don't say goodest, no. Bad, worse. In superlative, the worst. Many, much. in comparative, we will change it to more, and in superlative, we will change it to the most. Okay, now let's do the exercise about comparative and superlative. Complete the sentences with the comparative form or superlative form of the adjectives in brackets. Number one, the weather today is bad than it was yesterday. Now we have the weather today and yesterday. Two things. I want to make a comparison, or I want to compare between them. بقارن الآن بينهم. So, as I said, we add er to the adjective, but in the short adjective. But here we have bad. This is irregular. So we don't use er. So we will say the weather today is worse than it was yesterday because it's irregular adjective. Two, football is space popular sport in Brazil. This is superlative. I want to compare between football and sport in Brazil. So I say football is popular. Don't add est because this is long adjective. So we will say the most popular. Three, my cat is space big than Ted's cat. We have my cat and Ted's cat. Two things I want to make, or I want to compare between them. So the adjective big, and this is short adjective, so I just add er. My cat is bigger than Ted's cat. Tigers are space fast animals in the jungle, so I compare between tigers and animals in the jungle. So I say this is superlative, and fast, this is a short adjective, so we just add est. So I will say tigers are the fastest animals in the jungle. Here, let's talk about vocabulary complete with the words in the box. We have continent, mountains, traditional, capital, tourists, population. Continent, like Asia, Africa, this is what we call it continent. Mountains, الجبال. Traditional, تقليدي أو اعتيادي. Capital, the capital city of Saudi Arabia, for example, is Riyadh, the capital city, العاصمة. Tourists, سياح. Population, اللي هو السكان. Number one, the space city of Australia is Canberra, the capital. Two, shepherd's pie is a space British dish, traditional. The space of the island is about 4 million. Population, 4. A lot of tourists visit my country in the summer. 5. Is Asia the largest continent in the world? The last one, Tom and I went camping in the mountains last weekend. Also, here we have pronunciation. How to pronounce th. كيف أنطق الحرفين هذه th. How to pronounce it. Okay, sometimes I pronounce it th, like south, and sometimes the, like weather. So here the first one, thousand, thousand. Together, the. Thirsty, the. Toothbrush, the. Father, the, not father. Okay, another, the. Worth, the. Okay, this is the, and this is the. Okay, in phonetics. Okay, the last lesson here in module 4 about 4E on holiday, page 58. We just take vocabulary, and this is about holiday activities. The first picture about stay at a hotel. What do you do on holiday? I stay at a hotel on holiday. Or buy souvenirs. Souvenirs, something that you buy and keep it to remind you of somewhere you have been on a holiday or when you travel to somewhere. Okay, souvenirs اللي هو التذكار، شراء تذكار. Go on a trip. I go on a trip on holiday. Go hiking. I go hiking in holiday. Go hiking means a long walk in the country. اللي هو تجول في الأرياف. And we have this picture. Go sightseeing. I go sightseeing on on holiday. I go sightseeing on holiday. Sightseeing means visiting the sights of the city. Okay, رؤية معالم المدينة. And the last one, do water sports. I do water sports on holiday. At the end of this lesson, we covered Module 4, See the World, and we talked about vocabulary like means of transport, car, train, bus, plane, and we use by, the preposition by with them, and food we use on. Also, we talked about camping equipment, torch, tent, sleeping bag, etc. And also we talked about adventure sports, surfing, and skiing, etc. And also we talked about holiday activities, go sightseeing, go on a trip, etc. And also we talked about grammar. This is about future going to. We use the future when I want to talk about the future tense. The verb must, we use it to express obligation and prohibition. And also we talked about comparative form and superlative form. And comparative when we compare between two people, animals, or things. And superlative forms, we use it when I compare between one person, animal, or thing with several of the same kind. And these comparative and superlative use it for adjectives. And that's the end. I hope that's clear. Thank you very much for your watching, and good luck.